I do want to quickly look here at the playoff picture elsewhere because we do have 3 other games that are going on, and we can mention. Here quickly, Will Stan says upper level seats at the link are even pretty good. Yeah, that's where I'm sitting. I'm upper level for this one, but I'm upper level middle, so I'll get to see it pretty well. I figure it's going to be fine. Yeah. Cowboys and 49ers. I really think Dallas has a shot. I think the Dallas Cowboys played so well against the Bucs, and I know it was the Bucs, but if you get that Dak Prescott, which is the same Dak Prescott that they got against us whenever they beat us, it was against Gardner Minshew, but he was dealing pretty well. If that's the Dak that shows up, they can beat San Francisco. But the question will always be, can you get that Dak Prescott consistently, and aka 2 weekends in a row? I'm just not sure if you can.
Well, I gotta. There's a couple things because I don't know why people act like Dallas beating Tampa was some big shock. I mean, Tampa Bay stunk, and they stunk all year. It wasn't a surprise to me. As far as the Cowboys with Niners game, I do think they have a chance. Here's my thing. I know the 49ers are better coached. I know that they got a better offense and defense. They can run the ball in Dallas. My question is this. If Dallas keeps it close in the fourth quarter and the 49ers need to rely on Brock Purdy to make throws as a rookie in the divisional round of playoffs, I'm not sold on that. That's where I think Dallas' advantage is going to be at the quarterback position in that situation.
Would you rather play Brock or Dak at the link in an NFC title game? Take away the fact that we'd all rather play the Cowboy defense versus the Niner defense. Niner defense is so good. Just Brock versus Dak, NFC title game at the link, who would you rather play? Because that's a tough one for me. Because Brock's played so well, and if he makes it to the NFC title game, he's won 12 in a row. But you and I are still waiting for him to have his rookie moment. So I think he'd have it at the link. But maybe Dak would too.
Yeah, I think he would melt down at the link. I really think if they go to Philly in the NFC Championship, it's like that's a buzzsaw, man. You don't want. I think Dak is more equipped to handle it. What is this kid going to do if he throws an early turnover at the link? Like, he's a rookie. To me, if you look at the game, the first half of that Seattle game
wasn't that
good. They were in it. It was like Seattle just quit after the Geno Smith fumble. They quit. But I want to see Purdy when he has to make throws. Like he's got these big leads. He's managing. They're scoring points. What if it's the fourth quarter and you're down 4, or you're up 4, or you're 3, and that's when I want to see what he can do. I think Dallas has a great chance to win. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. I go back and forth. Do I really want Dallas in the championship game? I do, because I would love to beat them. But I don't want to deal with the Cowboy fans all week leading up to it.
That's fair. I think you made a great point about not being surprised that they beat the Bucs. There hasn't been a surprise playoff game at all so far, besides, I guess you can say, the Jaguars. Now, the Bills game was closer than it should have been. But besides the Jaguars beating the Chargers, everything else has gone. I mean, Baltimore was not going to win. We know that. The Dolphins were not going to win. They played well, though, and they could have won with Tua, but obviously didn't have Tua. The Bucs were not going to win. Even if Brady doesn't throw a pick in the end zone like an idiot, they probably still lose that game. Everyone said the Vikings were going to lose. That was the hot pick of the entire postseason. And Seattle did what we thought Seattle would do, right? They looked okay early. They could have had a couple of picks against Brock Purdy. They dropped them. And then they got blown out in the second half. There's not been a shock so far. And you can make an argument that there won't be another shock. I think Philly will roll the Giants. I say 31-17 all week long. You should probably expect the Niners to win, but that's probably the closest game of the weekend. We all love Dougie P. There's no way the Jaguars go to the Chiefs and win. That would be one of the most impressive playoff wins in recent history. Probably going back to when the Jaguars went to Heinz Field and beat the Steelers in 2017 with Leonard Fournette. That was also impressive. And I really think the Bengals are going to roll the Bills. I think.
Do you really?
I think so. I think the DeMar Hamlin injury, and again, not to take anything away from the DeMar Hamlin injury, but that was going to be the night where the Bills were going to get really exposed. I think the Bengals are a lot better than Buffalo. I think they were about to roll the Bills in Cincinnati. The Hamlin injury happens. Obviously, they canceled the game for a reason. I think the Buffalo Bills are just too reckless on offense with Josh Allen. They can't run the football, and the defense isn't that good. I mean, their defensive line is good, but overall, to me, the defense is not that good. I think Buffalo loses by probably 10 plus. I really think the Bengals are winning that game.
In Buffalo,
I really do.
Wow,
I really do.
I think that would shock me, because I thought that may be the closest game all week. That was the one I was like, I want to see this game. Like, But wow, that's something. But you're right though about Josh Allen. He's too
He
reckless
makes
with the ball.
mistakes.
He does, and then he comes back, and it's like, dude, this guy's got such a cannon. Like
He is
he's
good.
got
No,
such a beautiful arm. It's ridiculous. Like
he's
it's
great.
like one play, 45 yards downfield on the button,
Yep.
and then he throws us, then something stupid. But you're right. He does turn over the ball. That would be shocking.
It does feel like Buffalo has all the pressure here, too. One, they're at home, and you already mentioned that.
Yeah.
And two, this whole idea they have to play the Chiefs again. You have to have the playoff rematch. Is very much alive.
Right.
The Bengals have playing 3 backup offensive linemen. The Bengals could lose this game, and you go, hey, we're banged up. Happy to be here. This is fine. If Buffalo loses again and doesn't make it to another AFC title game,
Mm-hmm.
and with all the talent that they had, I mean, it's really rough. To me, Buffalo is the one team to watch out for in the first round of the draft to go up and get Bijan Robinson because they got to fix their running game. And I'm not a running back first-round guy. You're not a running back first-round guy. We both like Bijan Robinson, though. If you're Buffalo, you have receivers. You have Josh Allen. The offensive line is fine. They have pass rushers. They're pretty good at linebacker. You make a case they could use a corner. But I would go get Bijan Robinson because it feels like at times they need to ice these games away. They're up against the Dolphins. They can't run the football. James Cook and Singletary just aren't cutting it. They're like, it's like having 2 Kenneth Gainwells out there. They're third down, small usage backs, and they're getting all these carries. They need a real bell cow. I would go get Bijan Robinson if I was the Bills. These are all going to be good games. Like, I'm not saying they're not. I just think Cincinnati's really good. I think Joe Burrow is an absolute monster. I think he's so scary. He's so good.
He's a great
unbelievable.
Player. That's such an interesting pick. I can't. I think it's gonna be a fascinating game to watch. You might be right because the Bills did not impress me last week at all.
Yeah, you can make the case that if Waddle catches a couple of those passes, then you're at a point where Miami wins that football game. Many, and Waddle's good. I like Waddle, but it was rough. Do you think Jacksonville has any sort of chance? I kind of glossed over them saying they have no chance. At Arrowhead, Andy Reid. I know it's Doug Peterson, and we love Doug Peterson, and he called a heck of a second half against the Chargers, but I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening.
I feel like it's going to be hard to beat the Chiefs, and I know this may sound wrong, but when you come back such an emotional game like that, like how do you get back down, especially a young team that doesn't even think that, didn't expect to go this far, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's kind of hard for them to win that game. I do. And to be honest, I think Kansas City's the one team out of AFC that really scares me. Like that's the one team I'm not sure that I feel like that's the one. If I don't want to see them, if I could avoid seeing them in the Super Bowl, I'd be happy. At the same time, I would love the matchup, but I think like the Eagles match up really good against Buffalo.
I think they do too.
I think they would match up really good against those two teams.
Really well said. Yeah, I think that you could really try to lock down Diggs and really try to force Josh Allen to throw a couple picks and blow that game wide open really quick.
Right.
Really quick.
And you could get to Josh Allen. He'll turn the ball over. And then Burrow, with that offensive line beat up, I think the Eagles could take advantage of that too. Mahomes and the Chiefs, that's a different animal, man. It is.
And Andy Reid playing against the Eagles for a Super Bowl would be a really fun matchup, but a good storyline. Les Grossman, brother of Rex Grossman, maybe says $5 super chat. Appreciate that. I feel like the Jags and Chiefs will be a shootout. Dougie P will cook up some plays like Philly again. His play call on 4th down and 1 when they looked like they were going to go for the quarterback sneak and then handed the football and ran around the outside. Yeah. Loved it. That screamed to me that he's been watching what Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are doing and went, this is how I would improve it a little bit better. And finally got to call that play. I love the guy. And I was rooting for him so hard to win that game.
I thought that was huge too, because I don't know, like, you could feel like I felt like I was streaming that game and I felt like they're not going to get this 4th down. They're not going to get this. Like I felt like they weren't, and then he called the timeout and then he changed the play, obviously. And I just thought it was a great play. I thought the Eagles should have done that a couple times. Remember a few weeks ago when they tried to have Gardner Minshew sneak it? And he couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. Like they shouldn't do that,
Yeah.
Like if you look at the Eagles when they put Hurts under there, everybody just crashes. What if he stepped back and pitched it out to Miles? I bet you get 30, 40 yards downfield.
He had that one 2-point conversion against the Bears where he kind of slid out and ran forward, but it was only for a yard. We didn't get to see what he could have actually done with it had it been long enough. A pitch out is it's a good call.
I would love to see them in tight like that, snap it, take 3-4 steps back and just shuffle past it to Miles. I bet you that would work.
I'm down for it. Hopefully we don't have to use it against the Giants. Hopefully they can save it. Sirianni has something, right? Just like Doug had Philly or the Philly special ready to go. They all do, but Sirianni has something that he's either saving for Saturday night if they need it, or in the NFC title game that he's going to pull out of here. Just the whole, the coaching tree, and he just feels like they've got something really waiting that he's going to pull out there whenever they need it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let me see here. What was the other game I wanted to mention here? We talked a little bit about San Francisco and Dallas. Dallas is in a really weird spot because if they get blown out in that football game, you could see coaches being fired, right? Like that's an interesting part. No one else is getting fired in the entire rest of the divisional round if they get blown out. 0 people. Dallas gets blown out and they lose big. Dak throws 2 picks and they look terrible. Do you bring back Mike McCarthy, who wins a lot of games but can't get past the divisional round? I don't know if I do.
I would hope they do, because like I've said before, I feel like McCarthy's underachiever. I'm sorry, he had prime Aaron Rodgers and only got 1 ring out of that.
Yeah,
I felt like he should have got more. I think it's a lot of pressure on Dallas, because I think if Dak loses, that's going to be the narrative. 7 years. He hasn't, ever gotten out of the second round of the playoffs. So I just think it's an interesting game, though, because I know a lot of people are heaping praise on Purdy, but I want to see him actually have to go out and make some throws. That's what I want to see. I feel like if you look at they lost to some bad teams this year.
They did.
They lost to the Bears, the Falcons. Who else did they lose to? I think the Broncos. Those are some garbage teams.
It's such a weird year for them too, right? Because Lance loses to the Bears, Garoppolo loses to the Broncos. That Falcon game, I live in Atlanta, weird game, such a weird game. They get obliterated by the Chiefs. You think about this great defense, they get absolutely obliterated by the Chiefs, and they had weird injuries in here, so whatever there. But then this run with Brock Purdy, man, it's something that we don't see, because Brady comes in his first year, and he wasn't lighting it up like Purdy was. He was managing the game, not making mistakes, being a rookie. Purdy, for all that we talk about him, he doesn't look like a rookie. He looks good to go.
No.
And a lot of that Shanahan's offense and, blah, blah, blah. But maybe he just has the swagger. I think if you're the 49ers and he keeps winning, you have one of the worst off seasons coming up in NFL history, because what do you do with Trey Lance? Because you can't let him be a backup, and no one's going to trade for him anywhere near the compensation you traded to get up for him. But you got to roll with Purdy. It almost kind of feels like the Nick Foles situation, but they have a way bigger sample size with Purdy, whereas we had, 4 games with Nick Foles and then said, hey, let's go back to Carson Wentz.
Yeah. Well, and Nick was older, too. These guys are young, and they gave up a ton. I think that, I don't know, I think you almost have to keep Trey Lance and try to build up his trade value. Even if you have to do it for 1 year, I don't know what else you can do. Nobody's going to give you what you want for him.
Yeah.
They're just not.
But then again, if Brock Purdy's, the next great NFC quarterback, then what does it matter whatever you get back for Trey Lance? You get a second-round draft pick.
That's true.
You get Purdy another weapon. I don't know.
No.
Very interesting situation going on there.
I have to see Purdy. I have to see Purdy make some plays in the fourth quarter of a game before I can start saying, okay, yeah, he's the guy.
I think both of us will give him a ton of respect if he goes to Philadelphia and beats us and plays well. I will buy into Brock Purdy if that happens. But as you keep saying, the word buzzsaw.
I'll be sick. I'll be sick if that happens.
I will too. You and I have continually said the past month that he's going to start to slip up, and I keep waiting for it, and he just doesn't. Seahawks had some throws thrown to them that they could have picked off and made Purdy look a little worse than they did, but they dropped it. So
yeah, I think that run game and the coaches, they're so good. Will Dallas be able to keep it close in the fourth quarter? I think that's when you're going to get a true test with Purdy. If they come out, and Dallas isn't good against the run, so the 49ers theoretically should be able to run all over them. And I think if they go up early, 13-0, 14-0, I think Dallas is done.
I totally agree. And then Dak throws 1 pick six, and then it's like all hell breaks loose. And, you almost got to tune into 103.5 The Fan in Dallas just to hear them cry about it on the post-game show. Imagine hosting that post-game show. Whew.
Yeah.
I hosted the Falcons post-game show. Go ahead.
Oh, did you?
No,
I was just gonna say, I got a feeling I'm slightly leaning towards Dallas this game, though, because of the quarterback.
I am too.
Yeah.
I am too. I think Dallas wins. I think that they go to Philadelphia. You have probably the craziest atmosphere in the history of Eagle football because it's the NFC title game versus the Cowboys. It's probably so berserk.
Yeah.
And then if they win, it's going to be one of the greatest games ever.